Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of There Will Be Expletives. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And this episode is going to be all, for better or for worse, Batman v Superman. This is our official Dawn of Justice, both spoiler-free at the beginning and full-on spoiler review.
And we'll let you know when to turn it off if you haven't seen the movie yet.
Which pretty much 99% of the world, unfortunately, has. But yeah, we'll get into that. So, just really quick, I figured we'd look back for a second on our predictions.
Okay.
I feel like I got decently close as far as predicting it for me personally, my experience of it, but there was one slight problem. I was predicting a good Michael Bay movie. What we got was a bad Michael Bay movie. So, did you have any thoughts on your predictions on what you were talking about before last week?
Just that it was surprisingly worse than I predicted it would be. I basically just thought everything would blow and would get some decent action, and I mean, I guess it's what we got. It just blew harder than I thought it was going to.
I think it ended up being... I don't think it was worse than what you thought it was going to be. I think it was about...
No, because I was still let down a little bit, and I'll get into that in the spoiler-riddled version.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off, because we have so much shit to talk about with the spoiler-free edition. I figured what we would do...
Before we end the spoiler-free edition, definitely go check it out. If you have any interest in the movie at all, form your own opinion on it. Don't just take our word for it. You got to see it for yourself. If you're a fan of any of the stuff at all, it's definitely worth checking out, if nothing else, to get your own opinion on it.
Also, the takeaways from this movie are some of the action is really cool. So if you're going to end up watching it at all, you owe it to yourself to at least enjoy some of the action on the big screen.
Agreed.
So I think if you're going to watch it, go to the theater. Because, I mean, let's face it. You and I obviously aren't a giant fan of this movie. Whose asses are going to be in the seats opening weekend for everything else they do?
Oh, yeah.
So you have, like we're not going to watch Justice League.
Right.
So you owe it to yourself to watch it big, I think.
Yeah.
I've heard the IMAX stuff is pretty cool, too, because
I bet
the Batman action and their fight together goes full screen.
Does
top
it
to
really?
bottom. So I mean, I'm not going to go back and pay fucking $20 to watch this, but
Right.
just the thought of that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. But yeah, I think we should start off, spoiler-free edition, I thought we would actually start out with some of the positives, things we did like about the movie.
Okay.
I think we'll start off with the universal ones that pretty much everyone is on board with, and that is, let's talk first about Gal Gadot, which I figured out, told Ron off camera, or off mic, we have been mispronouncing her name along with the rest of the fucking internet incorrectly for a long, long time, but it is Gal Gadot. So your thoughts on Gal Gadot's performance?
I thought she did fantastic, and anyone that said that she wouldn't and did not change their opinion can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, they're wrong, and they were wrong for giving her...
They're welcome to their opinion, however wrong it is. But
the thing, and we've talked about this before, she is an Amazon, which is basically a Greek warrior.
Yeah.
And a Greek warrior was an athlete with a weapon.
Yeah.
First of all, how many fucking 6'1" muscle-bound women do you know on the planet that can act?
Yeah.
Like, they could not find, to me, a better... I mean, especially when you hear her background, like... She's from Israel.
Yeah.
In Israel, you have to serve in the military.
Yeah.
She has military experience. She has combat training. Like, for fuck's sake, like, I don't understand. Oh, her boobs aren't big enough.
Yeah, fuck?
Can we have a more fucking fanboy, misogynist 2016 like, Jesus, that's just ridiculous. That's on their podcast just on that subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought she was fantastic. I thought she was really, really good.
She really looked and acted the part very well. Especially in combat.
The combat scenes were great. When it wasn't about the combat, I thought her scenes in the parties, where it was just her being Diana Prince, I thought she was very, very good. I thought she played off like a really, really good aura of mystery about her, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like when you saw her on screen, you wanted to know more, and that's exactly what they needed her to do.
Honestly, if it weren't for showing her in the trailers as much as they did and all the news surrounding her casting and stuff, you would suspect who she is when it first shows her the first couple times, but you'd still be kind of like, surely they're not, but are they? Just because of how well, like you said, the air of mystery around her character and everything was done.
Also cool, back to the action.
It's almost a shame they even talked about her before the movie came out, because they did that so well in the movie.
It's true. In the action... if you remember, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but she has one scene. It might have even been the one in the trailer, but she has a couple of moments in her action scenes where she has like kind of a Thor response, where she's enjoying fighing, where she smiles.
300 is what popped into my head.
She has a couple of like reactions where she's enjoying the fights.
Yeah,
and I think
there's one in particular that sticks out in my mind that I think you're thinking of. We'll get to it later.
Yeah, but her response in the really, really cool one where she's like, fuck yeah, I'm enjoying this battle, she actually ad-libbed.
Yeah.
She wasn't supposed to do the take like that. She did. Mm-hmm. Snyder was like, this was reported, I think, Collider or Nerdist, but he basically went to her and he was like, so I saw you smile during the reaction of the shot. He's like, I really like that. Do it again. So that whole thing, not the script, that was her.
Nice.
That's awesome, because that was one of the coolest scenes of the movie.
Yeah.
Was her reactions to her fight scenes. I thought the scenes, well, we were talking about with the parties, but I actually really, really liked her chemistry with Ben Affleck. I thought those two together, what it made me think of was the Justice League cartoon episode.
Yes.
Where they're both on the mission together and they're at the party.
I agree with that.
My favorite scenes in this movie had nothing to do with the movie itself. It was when they got moments that made me think about the DC fiction as far as cartoons, games, and movies that I love.
And the stuff that we liked that they called back to from our childhoods or whatever else. They did it. The shame of it is they did it well enough to kind of make it their own also. The things that they did do well. Yeah, it's just everything else.
How you were saying you were bummed out by it. I honestly wasn't bummed out. I was frustrated by it because there are some genuinely cool moments in this movie. It's just for every cool moment there's like 5 other things that either don't make sense or are bad.
Yeah,
and it's a shame because this had the makings to be a very good movie if they just. And we'll get into that's more of a spoiler discussion, but yeah, we'll get into that later. Jeremy Irons is Alfred. I think he is
fucking fantastic.
He only has probably 10 lines in the movie. He's the best cinematic Alfred, period.
He's probably one of the most redeeming qualities of the movie.
He is and I was talking about...
everything he said was gold, and even if what he said wasn't that profound, the way he delivered the line.
Every line, he was on point.
Which is what you get when you have a famous movie star villain portraying an ex-MI6 agent. So
he was awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome playing the Jeff Johns Alfred. He's
honestly as smart-ass and sarcastic as Michael Caine usually is in his movies a lot of the time, but in a gentlemanly way. He's honestly more of what I expected to get out of Michael Caine.
Okay, the problem with Michael Caine's Alfred...
He was more in your face than I expected the Michael Caine one to be, but...
The problem with Michael Caine's Alfred it was a great performance. He's awesome in those movies. He's one of the very best parts of those movies, but the problem with Michael Caine is similar, ironically, to Morgan Freeman. They're always great, but usually they're playing either Michael Caine or Morgan Freeman. They're playing them.
Right.
With Jeremy Irons as Alfred, I thought I was just straight up watching Alfred.
Well, here's the other thing too that I loved about Jeremy Irons being Alfred is most of the time, at least cinematically, you get a butler just kind of thrust into a vigilante situation. He sold the ex-MI6 agent without ever even mentioning that he's an ex-MI6 agent. You get ex-military feel from him when he's talking and the way he's acting and stuff.
And I was saying earlier, I really, really liked the chemistry between Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck. I really, really liked the chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons.
Yes.
Because I don't think they've ever worked together as far as, just film roles and other movies.
But the way that they were together on screen, you would think that they've made several movies together.
Yeah, they had on-screen chemistry to the point it was so good where I bought they had been crime fighting for literally 20 years. It was great.
Do you think that there was any chance at all that, like, at any point, either Jeremy Irons was like, oh, that's Ben Affleck, or Ben Affleck was like, oh, that's Jeremy Irons?
Right. They were so good together that, like I was saying earlier, like there were some genuinely cool elements to this. My grade of this movie would have probably gone up 2 points if we had gotten 20 more minutes of those two together, because their scenes together were some of the best in the movie, and I thought they were both fantastic together.
Also, I don't know if this counts as a spoiler or not, but I'm going to say it. I like the fact that almost every time it shows either one of them, it's the Batcave.
They had a great Batcave, too. I really liked their Batcave.
They had a great Batcave, and anytime we saw either one of those two characters, it was almost always in the Batcave. I think there's like 2 scenes that they're not in the Batcave.
They had a fucking, I won't spoil it, but they had a badass entry point to the Batcave too.
Yes.
It was pretty money, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's fucking Batman right
Yeah,
there.
it's in the trailers.
Let's see.
Like everything else, it's in the trailer.
While we're on the subject, where there's going to be some negatives in here, obviously, but actually, I'll save this for when we go into the negative portion.
Okay.
I want to end.
That'll be most.
I want to end the
podcast.
positive portion talking about, even though the fucking trailers spoiled it, which that's probably the main point of the negative section is the marketing.
Yes,
But the experience of just seeing the Trinity together, to me, even though they'd spoiled the scene, it still worked for me in the movie. Like, I still got excited to just see them together.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is a quick aside, but I obviously, I love Spider-Man, I love Daredevil, and I love Captain America, but I am more so, as far as the universe is concerned, a DC fanboy more so than a Marvel. And I love both. I'm not one of those, like, you have to pick one or the other.
Right.
But I am way more invested in the Justice League than the Avengers. And I also think until the MCU made the Avengers what they are, no one gave a shit about Iron Man. No one sure as shit gave any fucks about Thor.
Yeah.
Hulk was a C character, and Captain America, I mean, they were nothing until the MCU made them as good as they were. As a concept, and as far as comics and cartoons and stuff are concerned, Justice League, for me, is personally more compelling.
Yeah.
So seeing those 3 together in the movie did kind of make me geek out a little bit.
I've always liked the heroes and stuff more on the DC side, but I've always appreciated the world on the Marvel side better. I feel like it's, and not just because it's, like it's New York and LA and San Francisco, but the fact that we have one hero in an ocean of villains and everybody hates the hero just as much as the villain. Like, that makes so much more sense to me than one guy that everybody is okay with compared to everyone else. Everybody would see them the same since they have 20 examples of what these people can do, and there's one out there doing good. Like Spider-Man's the perfect example. Only the people that he has personally saved are usually on his side, like in the news or anything else.
Yeah.
So then you have, like, especially Superman, I think, would definitely be the one that everyone would be like, fuck you. So,
yeah.
Especially after that Zod fight.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a whole discussion later.
Right.
Okay, and I did like, and we're going to get into more detail later, I did like the majority of the action sequences in this movie. I liked when, like, the best part of the movie to me, which was something else they spoiled in the fucking trailer, was the final Batman fight scene. It was straight up Arkham in live action.
Yeah, the final solo Batman
fight scene was the movie Batman equivalent of the best Daredevil stuff, which is all I've been asking for since I was 4 years old. Like, give me that.
It's like no one thought they could do that until Daredevil.
It's like, what pains me most about the Nolan trilogy, if you go back and revisit it, he's Batman, and he's throwing fucking haymakers that I could see coming.
Yeah.
Like, this Batman in this movie, like, he's using the environment to help him, which is very Arkham. It's a whole combat mechanic in Arkham. He's brutal.
So brutal.
I guess it's like, the Batmobile was straight up out of Arkham.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the sound effects were all from their gaming studio. Like, it sounded very like, I swear to God, Zack Snyder loves those games because there was so much just.
I told you I jizz my
upon
pants every time I hear the Batmobile take a corner and you hear those tires. It's the same sound effect from the Arkham Knight game.
Yeah, just the aesthetic. When we first got the pictures of it, the first thing we said was, "Oh, that's the Arkham Knight Batmobile." Like, just the Batmobile as a whole, the aesthetic is very, very cool. You buy the Batmobile. Like, a lot of people actually have problems with the Tumbler. I always liked the Tumbler, but I can also see how not really a Batmobile, it's more just a tank.
I appreciate the Tumbler more than I like it, I think, if that makes any sense. They tried to go with a real-world feel, real-world design, and a real-world purpose. Which
is understandable, considering those movies.
Right, and even though the purpose, you're like, well, that sounds stupid. They even straight up say, that never actually worked, so it's basically just here in the warehouse.
Yeah, so. I really did like the Batmobile, and I for the most part did like the Batman physical action. When Batman punches a dude, you should feel it as a viewer.
Oh, I felt it.
With the Nolan movies, like, you're like, shit, I could probably take Batman. Like, I mean, because, like,
I don't know that I was ever that down on it, but I do see
in
where you're coming
Rises.
from. It Rises.
The action is fucking horrible.
As far as I'm concerned, Rises didn't happen.
But you know what I'm talking about. That
yeah.
last Bane fight was embarrassingly shot.
Like, when I think about Begins, probably has more fisticuffs happening than Dark Knight, because Dark Knight is mostly, where are they?
Yeah.
type action, but...
and with Begins, most of the action happens off screen.
Yeah. That's the thing that annoyed me about it. They didn't know how to film action. In this, all the action is front and center. You see everything.
It's all Zack Snyder.
And even though things are happening quickly as they should, being a ninja dressed as a bat, you still catch it all. You still know exactly what happened, even if you don't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
So...
All right. Okay, this is where we bridge talking both positives and negatives, is we are going to talk about the presentation of Batman just overall in this movie. The main thing that I liked about this Batman in this movie is that he did have a presence to him.
Yes.
Batman, especially now, if you are starting up Justice League stuff, he has to be able to have a presence to him, because this is the dude who is a dude. And other members of the Justice League, Flash especially, have to be frightened by him. Like in the Justice League cartoon, like Wally straight up sometimes is just scared of Batman.
Yeah.
He can move through time, phase through walls, and is the fastest man alive. And he's afraid of the dude in the room. Like,
yeah.
This Batman actually does sell that. Because, like, a lot of people, if you remember back when this movie was starting to become a thing, people were pissy about them not having Christian Bale.
Yeah.
That Batman in here. Christian Bale's Batman got his ass kicked by Bane. How the shit is he going to fight Superman? It just didn't make sense to me.
And Bane wasn't even powered.
Yeah, he was just
a dude.
He was just a
big
better
dude.
version of Batman, basically,
Yeah.
in that movie. So yeah, Batman did have a presence to him. This is where we're going to start disagreeing. I actually did like some of the detective, quasi-recon, whatever you want to call it, towards the beginning of the movie. I liked where... Now, it's not straight up what you and I want out of Batman detective work.
Right.
But I did kind of like how it made me think of Matches Malone, him going around like in the boxing match, stuff like that. Like it was a lot of like Matches Malone type recon.
I did appreciate what they tried to do, and to be fair, there is a half hour of this movie missing from the theatrical version, so we don't know what all else is in it. So there could be more, but I appreciate their attempt, because it was probably the strongest attempt at his detective work, probably since Batman '89,
which is sad.
Yeah, I mean,
like we talked about off mic. I'm pretty sure in the entire Nolan trilogy, he runs fingerprints on a bullet. That was the only thing that could really come to mind.
He had a periscope that he gave King Douchebag from Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, yeah. If at any point we needed murderous Batman, it was that moment right there.
Would have saved Westeros a lot of trouble.
No kidding. I liked that, how we were saying, like how you just said, it wasn't perfect, but they made an attempt.
Yeah.
They had so much going on in this movie, just starting up the script. It very easily could have gone the way of we didn't get any detective work just because there wasn't time.
Right.
So I at least appreciated that
they tried to make time.
If there was in Batman v Superman, there was, when it could have been nothing but action, there was an attempt made to have some form of reconnaissance or detective work. That was one of the other really cool scenes when he's it's not, I guess we'll save it for the spoiler thing, but it had to do with Wonder Woman and their
yeah, I would save that. I think I know what you're talking about.
I mean, there's a lot of it's crazy because it sounds like I really dislike the Nolan Batman movies, but Dark Knight and Batman Begins.
Dark Knight was your favorite comic book movie for a while.
Dark Knight, I go back and forth between either Dark Knight or the Avengers because they're such apples and oranges. Like, Avengers is more fun. I could probably argue Dark Knight, while it's not the best Batman movie, if you're just talking bare bones film, just the film, I think that is the best superhero movie we've had, just as far as plot structure, dialogue.
All I'll have that my side of that conversation in the spoiler version.
In the spoiler version,
Yeah.
okay. I liked how there were moments in the film where Batman appeared to actually enjoy being Batman. There's a scene, and this isn't really a spoiler. There's a scene when he's fighting Superman, and he does
What?
He does.
We're spoiler free.
What the hell you say? There's this during one of the scenes when he's fighting him. He does the old school Justice League Unlimited half smirk,
Yeah.
which, as a Justice League cartoon fan, that was pretty fucking cool. Because I go back to the Nolan movies. If you take the Nolan movies, Batman spends that entire trilogy trying to retire.
Yeah.
That just pisses me off to know, especially in Rises. Fucker retires twice.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
For no fucking reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, Rises never happened though, so fortunately we didn't have to sit through
Why
that.
have we not done a commentary on Rises yet?
Rant tracks?
Exactly.
It and Godzilla are on the shit list, man. Hey, as much as I love Batman, I don't even own Rises. I'm not going anywhere near
I
that
do
fucking movie.
because one of my coworkers got a duplicate copy for Christmas, and they gave me their second copy. Shit, you not.
You got a
Shit, you
pity
not.
Batman movie?
I did. So okay, that's basically my and we're gonna go into in the spoiler section more detail on the aspects of Batman we didn't like. Is there anything you want to talk about Batman that you can talk about without spoiling stuff?
I feel like we didn't get as many gadgets as they advertised us.
I agree.
But the gadgets that we did see were really fucking cool, and considering what this movie is and what it's trying to be, they were incredibly more realistic than I thought they would be. Well, I can go into more detail on that in the spoiler
I was
version,
just
but-
happy to have gadgets, period.
Yeah.
We have never had Batman gadgets before, so even though there weren't as
But-
many as they advertised, at least there were some.
Some of the ones he had were even like Arkham game style, you know. So
Yeah.
that was interesting, but yeah,
I agree with
no.
you, because they even at Comic-Con had like a display case of just the gadgets. So
Yeah.
you were misled.
Yeah.
Like the majority of the
And
movie.
I think if you wanted to be completely fair, they were all in the movie. They were just in the background on the walls and stuff like they were in those cases
Yeah.
at Comic-Con.
He
but-
did get more. I'm pretty sure this is the most gadget usage we've had out of a live-action Batman movie,
Yeah.
though, in their defense.
It also depends on what you call a gadget. There was a lot of car and plane. So
Okay, this is the big question. Without spoiling stuff, grade Bruce. I was about to say Bruce Affleck. Grade your opinion on Ben Affleck as both Bruce Wayne and Batman.
fuck him. That's it.
Continue.
The thing I hate most about this movie is the fact that it actually kind of sort of made me like him as Batman. That is the thing I hate the most about this movie.
So, okay, here, let me get this straight. You kind of liked Ben Affleck in the movie where he was Batman. Fucker, hand him the Oscar right now.
I had my problems because my biggest problem with Ben Affleck is always that he's just Ben Affleck, and he was still kind of just Ben Affleck, but he was Ben Affleck actually trying to act for once.
And, dude, given the script he was handed, I thought the dude did a great job because, good God, some of the dialogue in this movie is atrocious.
I expected to walk out of that movie a bigger Superman fan for the first time in my life than Batman. So, he's actually... See the movie and come back and then listen to the rest of this podcast, because that's something I wanted to go into detail about later.
Detail later, okay.
But, yeah...
It seems like you were pleasantly surprised, would you say, by...
I literally sat there that whole movie like, I hate you, Ben Affleck, I hate you, Ben Affleck, I hate you, Ben Affleck.
It was the exact same thing with Matt Damon. Like, you said the one thing you didn't like about The Martian was you actually really, really liked Matt Damon in the movie.
And whereas I really, really liked Matt Damon in the movie, it wasn't that strong towards Ben Affleck in this, but I actually kind of, sort of, maybe just a little bit liked him.
Oscar.
Give
him the Oscar.
If I could get him as Batman in a good movie, we'll see. But
what'd you think about him?
I still don't know that I liked him enough to justify him in a solo Batman movie.
Okay, between him and Jeremy Irons' Alfred together, the two of them.
I could watch a whole movie of just them tuning up the Batmobile in the Batcave.
If you're telling me I can have 2 hours of those two together with J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, sign me the fuck up, dude. I am all over that shit. Because I thought, like I said earlier, probably the best chemistry on the screen the whole movie was Jeremy Irons and Ben Affleck together.
Now,
how would... Oh, go ahead.
Not just those three characters either, but... and this isn't a spoiler. It was well published, and we've reported it a couple of different times on our podcast. I have no idea where the fuck Jenna Malone would have fit into this movie.
Well, again, that was spoilers. I've actually heard reports on where she probably was.
Okay, because watching this movie, like, I don't even know. Like, I understand why it got cut because it had to be a complete side thing.
Yeah.
But
your thoughts on Ben Affleck as... well, I guess I'll say, I thought, like I said, to me, the takeaways from this film were I loved Gal Gadot and Jeremy Irons, and I really, really liked Ben Affleck. I thought Ben Affleck was not a perfect Batman, but the performance you got out of the film that came out of, and some of the fucking awful dialogue they had in this film.
Oh my god.
Especially Superman's.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like amateur hour, dude. I thought Ben Affleck...
It was like I wrote the fucking script.
I thought Ben Affleck did about as humanly possibly good as he could have in this film that he was in this script he was handed.
And also, I want to say, poor Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Because people, again, are ripping him a new one again. And I actually... I mean, aside from he got some of the worst dialogue in the whole movie.
Painful.
But
painful.
I've had 2 movies with him as Superman now, and I still really like him as Superman.
Yeah, and
I buy him as Superman.
You
know, nothing against Brandon Routh. They gave him a shit sandwich and he ate it. But Henry Cavill, I actually really... Now, I'm still nostalgic for, like, Christopher Reeves, because that's what
everyone should be, yeah.
But they're 2 different Supermans. I don't know if I should say Supermans or Supermen. I'm referring to singular people, but I don't know if it should be Superman.
Pronouns confused, there will be expletives.
But our specialty are expletives, goddammit.
I agree. He got... the first... With the exception of who we're about to talk about pretty soon, none of the actors are at fault for this film.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'll say.
I still like to blame Ben Affleck, but...
You son of a bitch. Yeah, the actors are not at fault. You want to know who Ben Affleck's Batman kind of made me think of?
Who?
Was Michael Keaton. Because while I liked Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, and again, he did as good as a job as he could for some of the shit they had to go through as far as acting and dialogue and shit, I thought he did a good job. But what I've always said about Michael Keaton was great as Batman, decent Bruce Wayne. That's my takeaway. I thought Ben Affleck was a great Batman and a decent Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, we actually talked about this a little bit because we watched the Batman kill count video again.
Which we will be going into in spoilers, obviously.
But one thing that I mentioned was I thought that he was a great Bruce Wayne and a great Batman, and you said you thought he was a decent Bruce Wayne and a great Batman. What I mean by that, it still applies to Ben Affleck, because I didn't actually explain to you. I was just going to save everything for the podcast, what I meant by that. To me, Bruce Wayne, like they say in Kill Bill, kind of, is the opposite of Superman, where Bruce Wayne is his disguise. He's Batman 24/7, nonstop. So,
good callback on Kill Bill. That's the best scene of Kill Bill 2 by far.
That discussion they had about Superman.
Quentin Tarantino fucking gold, dude.
Yeah. Where's our Tarantino DC movie?
That would be R-rated for sure. There's no cut of that. That's fucking R-rated, dude.
But anyways,
Samuel L. Jackson as Lucius. So
get these motherfucking chattering teeth off my motherfucking plane. So Val Kilmer and George Clooney, terrible Batmans, but pretty good Bruce Waynes if you just want to count Bruce Wayne as a regular guy that dresses up as a bat night after night.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and Christian Bale, what I like about the 3 of them, their Bruce Waynes, is they all feel like they're still Batman, even when they're not wearing the suit. That's what I like. To me, that's what Bruce Wayne is.
You should never feel like you're not watching Batman.
Yes.
And yeah.
Michael Keaton, even without his mask, still had like his Batman facial expressions and stuff going on.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like it's literally almost history repeating itself.
Yes.
If Batman 89, let's say we're in a hypothetical universe where we didn't have the superhero movie onslaught we've had, that we've experienced. Let's say the very, very first seriously taken Batman film that came out this year was Michael Keaton's. Michael Keaton's Batman. It's almost the same thing. It's like the dude
There's a lot of parallels.
There's a lot of eerie parallels between the two, because it's like they each did. Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck did about as good as you can fucking ask them to do with what they were handed.
Right.
Because people are nostalgic for Batman '89 because you should. That was the first time it was ever taken seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any piss out of them for that.
Was there one movie of Batman '66, or was that the first time he was on the big screen? Was it a TV movie of Batman '66?
I can't. Don't quote me on that. I think it was maybe like a limited release. I want to say it was in theaters, very limited though.
Okay, so then that would definitely be the first time it was taken seriously.
Yes, for sure.
And it was probably one of my first exposures to Batman, because I was born in '85, so I was 4 when it came out.
Yeah.
And then, was it 92 or 91, Batman the Animated Series came out, modeled after Batman '89?
I think 92.
I think it was 92 also. So I've been, 7 when that came out?
I was 1.
So yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I will say is Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck and the rest of the cast, except for the person we're about to talk about, should not your fault. You should not feel bad for what has happened with this film, because it was not any of their faults. I thought they pretty much all did about as good as they could.
Your movie is bad and you shouldn't feel bad.
Now we're going basically full on negative, so the rest is spoiler free. I don't know what was in Jesse Eisenberg's Cheerios that day and every day of filming. Holy Christ. It was like in his brain he was walking on set of a 90s Schumacher Batman film.
He's not a bad actor either.
No, what's really
what I can't tell if he did the best he could with what he was written, or if he just read the script and just went off on his own. I can't tell.
Here's the problem with Jesse Eisenberg's performance is also not all of his fault. But let's back it up a little bit. Square one. I get the idea of making Lex Luthor his son, and then wanting to give him a different personality besides being earnest, because Batman and Superman, especially in this fucking movie, are earnest to a fault.
Yeah.
So the idea makes sense as far as wanting to have one of the main leads have a little bit more flavor to them than just being earnest.
Yeah.
That being said, you making Lex Luthor Jr., as far as you making the character the kid of Lex Luthor, doesn't make you get off scot-free as far as just writing a god-awful character.
Yeah.
He is, to me,
unbearable.
He is, his score was also incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
So Jesse Eisenberg, to me, was the absolute worst part of this film. Every time he was on screen, I wanted to slap him.
Yeah, I cringed.
I cringed, too. It was painful to watch. And like you said, Jesse Eisenberg is not a bad actor. If they had let him play... I know you haven't seen it, but when he's playing Zuckerberg in The Social Network, he is the smartest person in the room. He is cold and calculated. If they had let him do that as Lex, as like an arms dealer, it would have been great.
As Lex's son, he should still resemble Lex in some way. Why he is completely out of left field, I can't explain it.
The performance is over the top, obviously.
Batman 66 over the top.
And it also falls a lot of fault, and when we give him props when we think he has taken shit incorrectly, we have to call him out when he does something bad. Zack Snyder, in those scenes, has to go up and talk to him and tell him to bring it down 50%.
Yeah.
That also falls in line with the director, because if you're an actor, a lot of the time when you're just acting, you don't realize when you're going over the top.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, and obviously I have never done any acting, but I can kind of feel bad for them in the fact that, you don't really know how your performance is going. You have to rely on the director.
Yeah.
As far as, am I going too far? No one fucking told Jesse Eisenberg he was going too far, because every scene was painful to watch.
Oh God, yes.
He had awful fucking dialogue.
I knew it wasn't going to happen because they need him. But I was just like, please kill him.
Dude,
Someone,
right?
please fucking kill him.
Exactly.
Like, Superman, always forgiven as far as the world is concerned, if you just snap his neck too.
Right? Fucking, I would have much rather had Zod back than have this Lex.
God.
It was brutal.
Someone left the window open when Zod's body was laying around. The sun hit him. He's back. We don't need Lex.
Let's go into... let's talk about the script overall as a whole. What little there was. The pacing in this film, it was 2.5 hours long. It felt about 4 hours to me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be
the
watching...
exact opposite of what I expected.
I shouldn't be watching Batman v Superman and saying, do something.
Yeah.
Which I was internally as I was watching this film.
Yeah.
This movie has... Now, obviously, they're coming out with this 3-hour version. The problem with the movie, though, is that this 2.5-hour version has so many worthless subplots. The best version of this would have been straight up 2 hours to me.
Yeah.
Get rid of every subplot you can and make it flow, because at the end of the day, we can forgive a dumb, fun movie. What did we react to the first Transformers film? That was fucking dumb, but it was pretty fun at the time.
Yeah.
And it felt like it moved. This script is stagnant in a lot of points.
Oh God, yes. The first Transformers movie, I actually have very few problems with as a Transformers fan, and that movie, it doesn't feel like it flies by, but it, like you said, it moves. What's another recent example I can think of? There was one movie we were talking about, felt like it was 10 minutes.
Deadpool felt about 30 minutes long.
Yeah, that's a good example. That movie is more or less a love story. And it's, about 2 hours?
Hour and 40.
Hour and 40,
Deadpool.
so not even.
45 maybe, roughly there.
Yeah,
ballpark.
it literally feels like it's about 20 minutes long.
It felt like, what it felt like was like one of
the opposite of this movie.
It felt like a 40-minute TV show that was a really good episode. You know, like it moved.
Like a great episode of The Walking Dead or something.
Yeah. Mind-boggling how bad the script was. And back to Zack Snyder. At the end of the day, the director has to be the one to say, this film is ready to be in theaters. It is embarrassing that they thought this was okay to release as the final version, because if I was the director, and I'm talking to the editor, and he presents this film to me as is, and it wasn't the first draft, I would have fired him.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing how bad the pacing was.
I have a sick feeling that 3-hour version is going to reveal that they cut out all the wrong shit.
We'll get to that at the end of the spoiler-free one. I'm going to bring up later the extended cut.
But yeah, it just... Ralph Garman on Hollywood Babylon said that he could not wait for the movie to be over so he could run to his car when it was over. Not quite that bad, but it's certainly about half of the movie, that's how it feels.
You're like, do something.
Yeah.
Show me something.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say, editor, I know we're talking about real people, but they're getting paid millions of dollars to do this shit. Editor should not work again with superhero material.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. The script.
And you know what could have made up for it was good dialogue.
Yeah, we're going to talk about right now.
Dialogue.
We're talking about the script. This script is the most self-important, like, just the audacity of some of the theology discussions that come across in this movie.
Yeah.
How many conversations about theology as far as God and man happen in this movie?
Yeah.
That should be...
There's something that even got to me we'll talk about in the spoiler version.
In superhero fiction, that is subtext.
Yeah.
That is not in-your-face dialogue.
Yeah.
Superheroes should be an allegory for theology, not a fucking Sunday school lecture.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Jesse Eisenberg's... I mean, he has... with his performance, went over the top, but some of those fucking lines they gave him, good God, dude.
Yeah, it was to the nth degree.
And they had
It was like we were watching TVN all of a sudden.
They had that annoying ass random piano key going on. Like
Yeah.
every time there was a Lex scene, I wanted to just rip my hair out. I
Yeah.
don't know about you.
No,
but
it was awful.
yeah. What this writer. Now, I don't know if you know how the Writers Guild stuff, as far as the writing credits go, but if you ever see in the credits for a film or a TV show, if there's an ampersand in between the names, it means they were a writing team. If it's just the word "and," it means they did passes over. They did, like, one person did a run through of the script, and they worked individually. And then if it's an "and," the word "and," the person listed first did the bulk of the script.
So when it says "and David Goyer,"
I think David Goyer did the basic outline for the film. And I think Chris Terrio, whose name is first, and if you talk to, or if you watch interviews with Snyder, both his wife and Zach, she's one of the main producers too. Chris Terrio's name is first. They always talk about Chris's script. So, if you're unfamiliar with his work, he's basically only really done Argo.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. Oh, and Justice League Part 1. Thank God.
This movie Justice League starts filming in 2 weeks. He is the only writer. So we're going to find out pretty goddamn quickly in the next Justice League movie if this guy is worth a damn at all. Because if Goyer did the basic outline for this film and Chris Terrio is the person who interjected all of that theological bullshit, Chris Terrio can fuck right off, in my opinion, and he should never work in superhero fiction again. That's my opinion.
Yeah, seriously.
It's brutal. Can we go back to that one picture?
Yeah, I was looking
Ron,
for...
apparently my discussion is not very entertaining because Ron is now scrolling through Gal Gadot's IMDb page.
We'll leave that one up for a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's talk real quick about what we're talking about, the script. This is you're probably gonna make you laugh because it's true, but in the Civil War trailer, there's 2 deliveries of 2 lines, and it's "I'm sorry, Tony, I have to do this. He's my friend. So was I." That has more pathos than this entire movie, Ron.
And not even necessarily what they said either, as powerful as it was. The line delivery on the "so was I."
5 seconds.
Yeah,
of that trailer.
That long. Maybe 3.
I'm rolling my eyes to everyone not listening.
Because we got 2.5 hours of fucking dialogue, and nothing worthwhile was said unless it came out of Jeremy Irons' mouth.
Right? Right?
So,
it's okay, we need to start
even Lois, who's supposed to be a Pulitzer Prize winning author, had nothing to say that was worthwhile.
If there
She had some of the strongest arguments in Man of Steel.
What scares me, dude, we have seen Goyer and Snyder make a good movie. I don't care what anyone says. Man of Steel is fucking The Dark Knight compared to this.
Yes.
If this is mostly Chris Terrio's fault and he's the lone writer on Justice League, we're fucked.
Yeah, we are.
We are fucked.
Yeah.
Because of the way they line up the filming, Justice League starts filming in 2 weeks. They can't renege on it.
Yeah.
Like, they're boned. And we're going to find out. I'm fascinated by the
I wonder,
Justice League.
after all the reactions to this movie, how many rewrites it's going to go through real fast.
I
now.
hope to God they start taking a second look at it. Because right now, I hope they're smart enough to realize they can't have any creative freedom. They need to be double checked because this was a disaster. Really quickly, I thought it was very eerie how reminiscent of Age of Ultron the problems in this movie were.
Yes.
Age of Ultron is a much better movie than this, but they did share a lot of the same problems as far as a lot of shit that shouldn't be in the movie exists in the movie only to be advertisement for future films.
Yes.
That's it's the exact same problem.
Yeah, it was just like watching a 2.5 hour TV commercial for the future movies.
It felt very, very disjointed.
Which is something Marvel's guilty of all the time, but Age of Ultron was their absolute most in-your-face, Sunday.
This is an interesting one. What are your thoughts while we're talking and comparing Marvel and this? Dark tone versus Marvel tone?
Here's the thing. I liked it, and I like both. Typically, I like things a little bit less happy-go-lucky, as like what Marvel typically does. But Marvel is really good at making it work. So even though I like darker tones on stuff, like Daredevil and everything, I'm happy with Marvel being lighthearted. I was really happy that this was as dark as it was. A lot of people said it was really freaking dark. I didn't think it was any darker than Arkham Knight, to be honest. Some of the shit you do in Arkham Knight was worse than what was in this movie.
I agree. Here's my point with it. I think people criticizing this movie for being too dark aren't really getting, I guess, in my opinion, the gist of it. Because there is a difference between being dark and the buzzword going around for this film, which I think is rightly so, is joyless.
Yeah.
Dark Knight and Batman Begins are both very, very dark, but what you have in those scripts and those actor deliveries are moments of comic relief, keyword relief.
Right.
Like, you can't get much more darker than Dark Knight, but Lucius Fox and Michael Caine's Alfred...
I'll tell you, the darkest moment of my life was Dark Knight Rises.
Right. But they
I was
have
in a sad place.
They have characters in those films which are dark, but you have to understand as a scriptwriter that you have to give your viewer a release from the tension, or else it becomes exhausting.
I feel like they delegated that to Eisenberg. Is what I feel like happened.
And it just was a colossal mistake, and then it just fell apart.
We have... I don't know where he's supposed to be on the scale, but I know that at the very least, Clark Kent is supposed to be above average IQ. We've got Diana Prince. We've got Bruce Wayne, who's supposed to be almost above genius level IQ, and Lex, who's supposed to be the same thing, even though he's Lex Jr.
In the DC universe,
where
Batman,
the fuck were the zingers? At least
in the DC universe, the two smartest people on the planet are Lex and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Basically, the way I've always seen Lex is the evil Bruce Wayne without the Batcave, kinda.
Yeah.
And he just there should be all kinds of stingers between them. They're all super intelligent people. They should be able to say something without saying anything to each other, and that should be a little bit of your relief. We don't need to delegate it all to Eisenberg and just tell him, "Hey, have you ever seen Batman '66?"
We've gone back a couple times, and I think it's a good parallel. Daredevil. Daredevil's incredibly fucking dark. Foggy is good comic relief.
Yes.
Matt Murdock and Foggy's relationship.
And he's still a serious character.
Yeah.
And Matt has some great one-liners and zingers.
And they have a great relationship together as far as, like, you can make... Like, the difference between dark and this is I can't remember a single joke in the movie.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, didn't you get the memo? Movie came out 11 years ago. I can tell you a joke in the film. I watched this movie a week ago. I can't remember a fucking joke in the movie. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. Because, like, you have to approach it as a director and as a scriptwriter like you do a horror movie. If you have a horror movie that is just straight up scaring you the whole 2 hours, you become exhausted. You have to have, like, a fake scare or a joke. You have to be released from your tension or else it's exhausting.
Sucker Punch, another Zack Snyder movie. Really dark. If you actually take in what is happening in that movie.
Yeah.
Incredibly dark. It's got some fucking brilliant moments, comedy-wise.
I think you're right. I think Lex was the intended use for that, and they just dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
It's bad. Last thing, the marketing.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude.
If I was Zack Snyder, I would have kicked someone in the balls.
The editor needs to be fired. The writer probably should be fired. The marketing team should never work in Hollywood again.
Yeah. It was bad.
If I hadn't stopped watching their trailers and I watched that final one,
your most favorite part would have been ruined for you.
The first 45 seconds of the final trailer is 90% of the best Batman action in the film. I would have blown a gasket, dude. Because what made that so cool was I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
When he starts going Arkham mode, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude, that was insane to watch.
I mean, I know you had your problems with it.
Yeah.
And it did have flaws with it, but in Force Awakens, to me, one of the biggest strengths of Force Awakens was a lot of things you didn't know were going to happen.
Yeah.
You can have raw reaction, which is so important to not just criticizing the film, but having a theater experience, having fun.
And I was going to say something, but I think it's better left for the spoiler portion.
Yeah, so many, the fucking Batman action.
Yeah.
The Trinity reveal. Oh, I forgot. There were 2 jokes in the film. They were both Batman one-liners that were in the trailers.
I don't even remember what they were.
It was Bruce Wayne about to get vaporized by Doomsday, and he goes, "Oh shit!" and they cut him off.
Yeah.
And who is she? Oh, I thought she was with you.
Yeah.
Which they go right over your head because how are you supposed to laugh when you've already seen that shit 30 times on their trailers?
Right.
You know? Yeah.
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 Which I have to say though, that was a pretty fucking fantastic moment. Oh shit.
Yeah, it was. It was.
If you're gonna cut it down to PG-13 and only have an opportunity to cuss once in a movie,
That was awesome
That
usage.
was the best use.
It was
of
awesome.
it.
I'm really hoping that perfect world, Justice League, Bruce Wayne acts a little bit like he does in the Justice League cartoon. How part
Which
of the comedic
we were closer to. We were darker, but we were closer.
we were closer to it. Like what I want to see is first of all, Flash has to be funny.
Yes.
Period. They have to have someone be primarily comedy based, or it's just going to be even more somber. And I really, really love the element in the Justice League cartoon of Bruce Wayne thinking everyone else is a dipshit.
Yeah.
It is gold. When he reacts to having to save the day, being the only human, he's just like, God damn these superpowered assholes. I love that. It's so good.
I also love one thing that I really love about Batman the Animated Series had a bit of this, but they really made it shine in the Justice League cartoon and Justice League Unlimited was he has a lot of one-liners that just put people in their place and lets them know that he thinks they are a dipshit.
That Wonder Woman episode that I referenced earlier,
Yeah.
he has some fantastic lines to Wonder Woman that are hilarious.
Yeah. And, you know, I wanted more of that. I get that we're not there yet. He was still a solo Batman fighting his own crusade with a cape, being the Cape Crusader. But I wanted a bit more of that. I just feel like every movie you ever see that has that many smart people in a room, there's zingers here and there, and that would have been more than enough to break some of the tension. And we
Could not agree with you more.
We did not need Eisenberg doing whatever the fuck he was doing.
I feel so terrible for Henry Cavill specifically.
I know.
This was originally Man of Steel 2. Then it becomes Batman v Superman.
It's a good thing he's Superman because it always falls back to his shoulders.
And
no one else could carry that kind of weight.
He's a supporting character with awful lines.
In his own sequel.
What a goddamn shame, dude.
Yeah. And people hate him even more than they did in Man of Steel.
That poor man, dude.
Yeah.
And
as far as I'm concerned, in Man of Steel, he fucking rocked Superman. And in this movie, he rocked Superman as well as he could.
Man, talk about... We talked about earlier, some of the lines he had to deliver. Mm-hmm. Like, the only way they were able to work, period, is because Henry Cavill is such a good fucking actor, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's frustrating. That's the only word for it.
There were honestly moments that, like, Amy Adams and Henry Cavill, especially, when... It almost had kind of the Arrow feel where when they delivered some of their lines, like, you know how you could almost see in Felicity's eyes, like, I can't believe they're making me say this.
Yeah.
You could, like, there's one moment in particular we'll probably end up talking about later that you can just see that in Amy's eyes as she's delivering
Amy Adams
the lines.
too. Amy Adams is an Oscar-nominated actress. She's fantastic.
Playing a Pulitzer Prize-winning author, and some of the lines that she has.
Okay. Will you watch the R-rated version of this? My own curiosity, I think, is going to get me to watch it. I'm not going to buy it.
Here's the thing. I want to say no, but honestly, I will probably end up Redboxing it if it's available on Redbox.
It's one of those things where it's like your curiosity gets the best of you because you're just like, I'm so curious what was cut out. I'm curious if okay, let's say hypothetically speaking, 2 months from now or whenever we watch the 3-hour cut and it's really good. Who's to blame? Just purely the editing? Like, because if it originally worked as a 3-hour film, and we disagree with a lot of the inclusion of subplots at the 2.5-hour mark, like, is it then squarely on the editor and Zack Snyder for okaying the edit? Like, what do you think?
I feel like it's just going to be a cluster of a bunch of different things, dude. I feel like what was cut out is probably the stuff that shouldn't have been cut out, and then the stuff that was left in should have been. But I also feel like some of the stuff that cut out was probably of the same writing quality as the rest of the movie.
It's not. My
Yeah,
thing
like,
is,
it's-
it's not going to magically make it better.
Then we don't.
It's not going to. Okay, I should rephrase that. It could magically make it better. It's not going to magically make it a great movie. That's pure.
It's
That's not going to happen.
gonna do for this movie what it did for Ghost Rider, having an extended cut.
I still haven't seen the. I think you let me borrow it, but I haven't gotten around to it. But have you ever seen the Daredevil director's cut?
No, I did not.
The Daredevil director's cut's actually a little bit better. Now,
Is
you
it?
and I are in the minority as far as not thinking that movie is the colossal piece of shit everyone else does. But
We're
it
an
did
even smaller minority liking Man of Steel.
it did make the movie better.
Did it?
And it was oddly enough, it was the same director. It was Mark Steven Johnson actually who did both Daredevil and Ghost Rider, and then everyone hated it, and he never worked again. He was like the original Zack Snyder. Now that I think about it, yeah, it's not going to magically make it. But my curiosity at some point is going to get the best of me because I will end up watching it. Yeah. Any closing thoughts on the spoiler-free portion? First of all, kudos to you and me. High five. We
Yep.
just went 55 minutes without spoiling anything. The
That
internet.
we're aware of.
The internet can't go 55 seconds without spoiling shit.
Yeah, it's
so,
true.
yeah.
But-
Any closing thoughts?
Again, if you haven't seen the movie yet and are still listening to this, we're not saying don't see it. We're not saying that there aren't any redeeming qualities to it. There's some shit if you're a fan of any of this, you definitely want to check out.
Watch it big.
Yes, watch it big. Don't wait to Redbox it, or Blue Box or whatever you have. 'Cause it always bothers me at Walmart that they're blue and they're Redbox.
Oh, really?
But it's not a good movie, in my opinion, that no one really technically asked for, but I guess they did if they're listening. But I want to say it's not the worst movie I've seen. That's not entirely true, I don't think. It's down there.
It's not Catwoman bad.
I never saw Catwoman.
It was pretty fucking bad.
I still don't know how you can go wrong with Halle Berry scantily clad in leather.
Google the images. Don't watch the movie. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, I've Googled the images, sir.
You want to know? You want to know? I'm gonna have my closing thought is the same closing thought I had for Age of Ultron. If this had come out in 1996,
It would have blown our fucking minds.
it would have been dawn of geek erections for 2.5
Yes.
hours. But unfortunately, the bar has been raised.
Yeah.
Like this cannot.
James Cameron.
I know. I think the same thing too. This cannot. If you're Zack Snyder, be the edit you okay and think it's okay.
And this is from pretty much the only two guys that ever defend
I
Zack
know,
Snyder.
dude. Like, if we're giving him that much shit, like I've actually, for the first time ever, now I didn't read any reviews beforehand because I don't think you should read reviews in detail.
I agree.
Before watching the film, but after I went and watched the movie, this has actually been the first time in a very long time I have gone and looked out reviews because the fallout of this movie is fascinating to me.
Yeah. It's kind of its own beast. It's like no one really knows what to make of it. Everybody's confused by it.
The reaction of just mankind to this film is so much more interesting than the film itself.
It's like the moviegoer part of you gets pissed off, but some of the fanboy in you is like, no, man, it's chill. It's fine.
All right, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it's chill in my life. And I just said it.
I think with that, we're going to start spoilers. So be sure to check out our next vid. That's going to be our full-on spoiler edition. No holds barred, all the spoilers. So make sure before you start our second video about this that you have seen the movie. If you have liked our material, make sure and like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. It gets you all of our content, all Let's Plays, podcast commentaries, all the whole shebang. Our social media links are below in the description. We got Facebook and Twitter going. And most importantly, if you like our content and know someone you think might also enjoy it, go ahead and share us out. It helps us out quite a bit. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And we will catch you for our full-on spoiler-filled review edition of Batman vs. Superman.